My name is Simon Nicholson. I teach in the School of International Service at American University, where I teach and write on global environmental concerns writ large, with a particular focus on global food challenges and questions about emerging technologies. Now, this is a course about the nature of the environmental challenge. We're going to look at how we got into this mess, because we really are in a mess when it comes to environmental considerations, and what we need to do to get out. Many courses of this type quickly get labeled Intro to Doom 101 or Introduction to the End of the World, because much of the stuff that we're going to be dealing with is pretty dark. When you start digging into the environmental situation, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that things don't look too rosy. So I teach this stuff in part because it's a great intellectual challenge. As an academic, I get jazzed up by thinking about big ideas and big questions. But I also spend time working on these issues because I firmly believe with lots of other people that the environmental challenge is the great challenge of our age. Every generation faces its own unique set of challenges. In the past, we've had folks who have worked to bring about greater civil rights for certain parts of the human population. We've had folks who have worked to transition us to new technological forms through the Industrial Revolution. We've had folks who have been in generations that have had to fight great wars against fascism and so forth. This particular moment is really, I think, about making sure that human activities are ultimately compatible with ecological realities. If we don't sort this out, nothing else matters. There's a quote from a guy I know named David Orr. David and I taught a workshop together some years ago. And during that workshop, David said something that has kind of stuck with me and resonated ever since. He said that if you consider the environmental situation and you're optimistic, you don't know enough, which is pretty profound and pretty depressing. But he went on to say, if you're pessimistic, then you're ineffective. So the great challenge for us in the face of the environmental situation is to find the sweet spot between optimism and pessimism, between being blindly optimistic and so pessimistic that we drink heavily and just kind of throw the covers over our heads. That sweet spot is hope. That's the sweet spot in the middle. And so one of the themes that we'll develop together through the course is how to respond effectively to the environmental challenge. If you want to find hope, it comes through more effective action. I'm from New Zealand originally, and New Zealand's a place that's known for its environmental action. New Zealand's a country about the size of Japan in land area. Japan has, more than 100 million people though. New Zealand has only 4 million. And people in New Zealand live lifestyles very much like those in Japan, United States, and Western Europe. If everybody in the world lived like we do in New Zealand, the world would be a mess. And in fact, New Zealand, when you start digging into it, is a pretty messy place. We project this green image, but in fact, there are all kinds of problems that the country faces. Wherever you look, you find the same dynamic. In rich countries, environmental devastation that can be transported to other countries and hidden. In poor countries, ecological deterioration that's tied to people living in desperate poverty. There is so much work to do. So it's going to be a great privilege working with you through this course to unpack the nature of this environmental challenge and to work out how best to respond. Let's jump in, shall we?